Welcome to another episode of the Rankin Podcast. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're listening. We really, honestly, truly do appreciate it. I'm Garrett C. Wright. You can find me at Garrett C. Wright on the old tweet machine. My co-host today, Don Garwood, as always.
Oh, Vada Kedavra!
All right, I'm dead now.
Yeah, so now it is apparently my turn to take over. You can find me on Twitter at Donnie_G. I don't remember if he said that or not. I don't actually listen to him when he starts.
Thank you.
But as you can tell by the title of the episode, this is the Harry Potter movies ranked. We've already ranked the books.
We did
Our only 7 ranking.
The only time in the history of the pod that we have ranked our top 7.
Yeah, but now, today, for our 70th episode,
I need to get the air horn on here.
We are ranking 8 things.
8 things. New high. New record high.
I mean, it's essentially every other podcast because we go top 5 and then 2 or 3
It's true.
honorable mentions.
But we can never be sure where those honorable mentions would really slot in.
Right, but I can tell you where the Fantastic Beasts movies slot in, and that is at 9, 10, and 11.
You know what? Fantastic Beasts and where to find them is not bad.
No, it could probably slide in front of a couple.
Yeah.
But we're not ranking those.
No, we're not.
Maybe we will at the end. Who knows?
I mean, I thought
slide
for
'em at the
certain
end.
you would poke me giggity for you wouldn't even know about Secrets of Dumbledore, Garrett, because
Yeah, Secrets of Dumbledore is a great movie.
you fell asleep in the movie theater.
Oh,
Well.
no, The Crimes of Dumbledore.
That's
what I kept calling the movie.
Crimes of Dumbledore movie sucks. Well, that's not what
He's not
called.
killing anybody.
I'd be much more interested in the Crimes of Dumbledore.
What crimes did Dumbledore commit, you ask? 1, he fell in love with the most dangerous wizard of all time. 2, he went and halfway adopted the second most dangerous wizard of all time. This dude is just a magnet for... He likes the bad guys. What can he say?
Don't we all?
Yep.
Don't we all? So we're going to rank our favorite Harry Potter movies. 8 through 1.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah. And really, the last movie came out 11 years ago. If you haven't watched them yet,
You probably ain't gonna.
why did you click on the podcast?
Well, that's
Why are you
true,
listening? Why are you listening? I have no idea.
Just to hear us, I assume.
And flattery is welcome.
And it'll get you everywhere.
Right. It will get you many places with us. But nonetheless, there are copious amounts of spoiler alerts.
Yeah. Including, like, quotes from the movies.
Direct quotes.
Probably some acapella theme songs. It's all the same theme song, isn't it?
Yeah. The first time Don goes, bah, 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 bah. Like that's Game of Thrones,
Game
Don.
of Thrones.
That's Game of Thrones. That's not Harry Potter.
I'm trying to think of Harry Potter, because now all I can think about is Game of Thrones or Pirates of the Caribbean.
I don't know that I could do Pirates of the Caribbean right off the top of my head.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
But I can't do Harry Potter, can you?
It's I'm not sure what the instrument is, but it's weird. I don't know if it's a xylophone of bum. No, that's the start of Star Wars. I know I can hear it in my head. I just don't know how to get it out and make it sound chimey.
Well, maybe it'll pop up.
We'll see what we can do.
So 8.
Do 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 do. Yeah, it's just it's real chimey.
What like theme or like which movie do you think of when you hear that song? Because I can tell you what I think of, and it's actually an end credits to maybe I can't tell you the exact movie, but it has the Marauders map. Where they're going, the end credits, and they're playing that song, and then everybody's footprints are on.
I think that's Order of the Phoenix, Order of the Pahonix, I believe is how it's pronounced. Pahonix.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that could be it.
Order of the Pahonix. All right,
you're number 8. You got to go first. I think I've gone first the last 2.
Hot take. Hot. I got Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Okay.
It is the highest rated movie on IMDb in the series.
Okay.
And I have it at last.
What's its rating?
8.1. By the way, very consistent movies, according to IMDb.
Yeah, probably 7.3 to 8.1.
7.4 to 8.1.
Okay. I don't have the IMDb ratings, so you're going to have to list them off.
I put the IMDb's for you.
That's why I didn't
on my
do it.
list.
There's no point in both of us doing it. We are going to have the same movies, so there's no point in both of us.
Correct. 8.1.
Don't talk about the list beforehand.
Part 2. That's true. 8.1 Part 2. And it's almost explicitly because the Battle of Hogwarts just seemed like another portion of the series in the movie. No, it's like this is the castle that is being blown to smithereens, which is a word I don't get to, the word smithereens isn't thrown around all too often these days, Don. But it's getting blown up. Like, this is the end of the story, and they're like, oh, by the way, this also happened. Now, that should take up about 3/4 of the movie.
Oh, the battle itself?
Yeah. It should go on for quite a while, and it does not. Like, the entire second movie of the Deathly Hallows is a day. It's a 24-hour day. And they run through the bitch like it's 6 weeks. No. It's one day. It should be pretty fast-paced, but the majority of it should be
the battle.
And it's not. And I hate it. Therefore, and it's probably, even if they did 3/4 of the movie as the battle, I would probably sit here today and be like, no, there's so much more that goes into it than that. No, like, if you've left out important crap throughout the entire movie series, we can go ahead and just treat this as if it's an episode of a TV show that's got several parts and just focus on this one thing.
Okay.
So hot takery, the highest IMDb rated movie in the series, I have it last place.
Interesting. I have got in last place, probably less of a hot take, Chamber of Secrets.
Not great.
It's
higher than I thought it would be on IMDb.
What is it?
I think it's a 7.6.
7.6?
7.4. It is the lowest, but it is still, I thought for sure that's a 6.3.
I think you get some rose-tinted glasses.
Fair.
So, it's the second movie in the series. Last on my list. It didn't really do a lot of world building from the first. Like, I'm trying to think of what happened in this movie exactly. Whomping Willow, right?
Yes. Flying car, Whomping Willow.
Flying car, Whomping Willow. And then the book takes over.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is spoilers. So the book takes over
Ginny Weasley.
Ginny, but that's after Harry gets rid of it, right? Harry's like talking to Voldemort through this book, to Tom Riddle.
The book is talking back
Yeah.
to him, yes.
And then
And Hermione is like, this has got to go.
so they get rid of it. Jenny finds it.
Yeah.
And then Jenny gets
Possessed.
Possessed.
Possessed by a book, yes.
and
She starts trying to kill mudbloods.
well, and then nobody dies. The one girl like sees the
Yeah.
snake in the mirror.
There's lots of, like, if you look at the basilisk in the eye, you'll die.
What blood did they use? It wasn't Filch's cat's blood, was it? I think Filch's cat was still alive.
Right, she was petrified.
Because she saw it like through a puddle.
Right in the puddle in
somebody
the
else
hallway.
saw it through Sir Nicholas.
Right, Colin Creevy sees it while he's taking a picture
Yeah.
rather than, yeah. So there's a couple of banger ways that old J.K. keeps from killing a bunch of 12-year-olds. But, yeah, for the most part, it's kind of a big old nothing burger.
Yeah. I mean,
It's basically...
the very end, it was, I think it really had the first action in the series when he fights the basilisk at the end. And then the Phoenix, what's the Phoenix?
Fox.
Fox the Phoenix.
No fox given.
Comes in and gives him the sword.
Yes, Sword of Gryffindor.
The last 10, 15, well, probably not the last because there's bullshit at the end, but the last The climax of that movie isn't bad.
No, I was going to say,
it takes a bit to get there.
The source material sucks. So the movie is inevitably going to suck. It's the worst book. I think we both, when we ranked the books, I think we both had Chamber of Secrets as the worst book because it's just sort of there. It's basically an entire book about how Lucius Malfoy had a bad idea.
Right.
He had a bad idea. Like, I'm going to kill Harry Potter this way. And if I take out some mudbloods while we're at it, all right, great. We get introduced to Dobby. It's like the one,
Yeah.
when the first time you meet Dobby,
Master has given Dobby a sock.
but when at the start of the movie, Dobby is annoying AF.
Yeah,
I hate Dobby. By the time we get to Dobby's imminent demise,
yeah.
he's very very lovable. But at the start, where Uncle Vernon's trying to drill down some drill business, Dobby ruins it all. Not good.
Well, Dobby's a lot more prevalent in the books than the movies, right?
Yeah.
I think he makes an appearance in every
I'm
movie,
not
and then you see him in
I'm not certain of Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't know if he's in that, but every other he's along for the ride.
Wasn't he working in the Hogwarts kitchen as a free elf though in one of them?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
That might have been Room of Requirement, whichever movie has that. Order?
A couple of them.
Or whichever book has that. Because I think that's
Order of the Phoenix. That's where Dumbledore's army is. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that later.
I'm sure we will.
Well, we have to because we're ranking all 8. So that is my number 8, Chamber of Secrets.
My number 7, I have Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay.
And there's a couple of reasons why. One, in the book, it's one of my lower rated books. They try.
We're talking about the movies.
They try to hype up the fact that Sirius Black is this crazy man who's definitely going to come and kill Harry Potter, and they don't really sell it that well.
I think it's also important to note that I watched all the movies before I read all of the books, so I probably have a very different perspective on these than you do.
Potentially.
I think that I read the first 3 books when I was in junior high, and then never read them again until 2 summers ago, and I listened to the audiobooks. So I'd seen all the movies multiple times before I read all the books.
But I don't think they ever sell it well in the books, in the movies. That in the entire series, Harry doesn't make a poor judgment on somebody's character and gets burnt by it. Not once.
Snape?
Not really. He didn't get burned by it. I think everybody has a relatable, oh man, I probably shouldn't have trusted that person.
Right.
Harry doesn't have that. Doesn't happen in 8 movies.
Mooney?
No, because that wasn't Mad-Eye Mooney.
Right. So he trusted
Barty Crouch. Didn't come back to haunt. Didn't come back to bite him.
Well, okay. So nothing comes back to bite Harry because none of the main characters die and Harry doesn't die. So literally nothing haunts any of these characters except for Cedric Diggory.
Good.
And Dumbledore.
So also Prisoner of Azkaban. So Sirius is not going to be a bad guy. I just feel it the whole time.
Okay.
Secondly, Sirius Black, Professor Lupin, Severus Snape are all supposed to be in their early 30s.
And they're all played
by dudes in their 50s, and they don't remotely look like they are dudes in their early 30s. I love me some Alan Rickman, and I love Gary Oldman. Wrong choices to play these dudes.
I don't think they're the wrong choices.
Wrong choices. They're supposed to be in their early 30s. Robert Pattinson was more in line to play Severus Snape than Cedric Diggory. They're in their early 30s. And these dudes got crow's feet for days.
Yeah, they lived a hard life. Snape killed countless people.
for fun.
Gary Oldman was in a soul-sucking prison for 14 years.
Gary Oldman was Detective Jim Gordon and then Commissioner Jim Gordon. You're crossing streams there, Don. No, even then, they still don't look that bad after living in a soul-sucking prison.
For somebody who's supposed to be 30, he does.
No. He looks like a 55-year-old man.
Yeah, 25 years off his life.
Okay.
He did his waiting.
Professor Lupin?
He did his waiting.
Professor Lupin is a werewolf. He's a werewolf. He's a werewolf.
13 years in Azkaban.
They all look like hell. And they're supposed to be 32 years old. They're supposed to be 32 years old. So just for that alone. And I don't, the source material, I don't think is great either there. So you're not working with the best of the best. So,
okay.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
What's the IMDb rating?
Prisoner of Azkaban IMDb rating is 7.9.
Okay.
And I think some of that is I love Alfonso Cuarón, by the way, director. He's made fantastic movies, and yet he just did okay here.
Okay. My number 7 is not that movie. It is, in fact, the first movie in the series, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on which.
If you're royalty.
And here's the thing. I would love to put it higher on my list because it was the first movie and it introduced us to this world and it spawned all of these other ones. And I really like it. Like, I enjoy watching the first movie.
Yes.
Much more than I like watching the second one. But I like watching the first one for about the first half of the movie.
I was going to say, they spend like 40 minutes before you get to like, you're a wizard, Harry.
I enjoy, going to Gringotts the first time. You see the goblins and, hey, you're a billionaire. And up until, they just kind of suddenly find this door with a 3-headed dog behind it. And they're like, we're super sleuths now.
We're
and they're also like, we have about 25 minutes to wrap up this movie. So
yeah.
Whereas in the book, I feel like they find that dog like in August, and they spend 6 months of their school year trying to
figure it out. Yeah, that's fair.
But this isn't a comparison of the books versus the movies. This is a movie standing on their own. But still, up until they find the dog, it's a really good movie, and I enjoy it. Then they go through the tests, and they're like, oh, Neville likes herbology, so don't let these plants eat you. They're quicksand. And then Ron's like, I'm a chess expert. Once I make my move,
I was going to say,
your
best line in the whole series is, once I make my move, you're free to check the king.
Ron, no.
No, Ron, no. Do you want to stop Snape from getting that stone or not? I say it to Ashley like once a week. Like it'll just have been quiet in our living room for a long time because we're no longer in love. And I'll just say, do you want to stop Snape from getting that stone or not? She's like, what? Still hasn't figured out what the hell I'm saying. The acting's so fantastic in that movie. Ron, no, Ron, he's going to sacrifice himself.
So could you imagine if that was like the prequels, they did that, how bad whoever the kid playing Rod Weasley would have got it? That'd have been so much worse than the kid playing young Anakin Skywalker got in Star Wars.
Yeah. Getting a lot of hate. So that's your number 7?
My number 7 is The Sorcerer's Stone. First half of that movie, phenomenal. Second half really drags, and then it drags and they rush it.
I think that's almost a fair assessment, Don.
Thanks.
My number 6, I got Chamber of Secrets. We talked about it a lot already. I don't like the book is the worst book. It's just it's a bad plot. There's not a whole lot you can do. Bonnie Wright is the actress who plays Ginny Weasley. And I don't know how good of an actress Bonnie Wright is.
You don't know because she's never been anything since.
Well,
I think she has.
She just sort of exists on the screen for about
10 minutes.
About 8 films. She just exists in front of a camera, like
sometimes in the background of the camera, snogging
Dean Thomas.
Dean.
She won the genetic lottery by having red hair. She's a natural ginger, and they're like, "Oh, you're a Weasley girl, great, perfect." She's like, "I don't know what any of that means," because she sounds like she's from London. So it's just you're like, okay.
Book Jenny was much better than movie Jenny.
Yeah, Book Jenny's badass,
and I didn't realize that until
books.
So because it's like in the movies, they're just like all of a sudden we're in love. Like, why? Where did this come from?
It's convenient.
I'm big. Okay, like watching the movies, like makes much more sense for Harry and Hermione to be a couple than this. But then in the books, it's like they're clearly pushing Ron and Hermione to be a couple.
Yes, and
Jenny and Harry are on this will they, won't they, will they, won't they,
and then
for like 4 books,
and then they will because Cho Chang can't get over Dedrick Siggory. So my number 6 is Chamber of Secrets.
Okay. My number 6, and I will say this, number 3 through number 6, they're all really close.
Yeah, I had 3 through 5 were difficult to rank.
Like I've changed, like as this is going on, I've moved like 3 to 4.
Right, you're sitting over there going, well,
and 5 to 3. So they're all very, very close. And ask me tomorrow and they'll be different. Like even now as I'm looking at it, I'm trying to debate whether or not I want to say the name of this movie and lock it in or if I want to keep stalling by talking. But I'm going to go...
You're going to go off the deep end.
Order of the Phoenix.
Okay.
It's a 2007 fantasy film directed by David Yates. So Order of the Phoenix takes place right after
Goblet of Fire.
The Goblet of Fire. And Harry essentially has PTSD the entire movie.
Yeah, no, that's an accurate way to put it.
And I think that until I heard that, I didn't realize it. You just think like, oh, Harry's just a whiny bitch this entire movie, and he's just like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, Ron. Or Dean or Seamus. I'm just going to go to bed every night at 7 p.m. and wake up at 1 a.m. And
have you seen the tweet that went viral about somebody's like, so what you mean to tell me there's one African character in Harry Potter and his name is Kingsley Shacklebolt, and there's one Irish character and his name is Seamus Finnegan. They didn't meet an American named Huckleberry McRib. Oh, God, I now want to meet Huckleberry McRib.
The one Asian person? Cho Chang.
Like, I want to meet Huckleberry McRib now, though. I want to read Harry Potter in the fast food order of death, and there's Huckleberry McRib like, y'all sound like you from London. Okay.
Fudge also really pisses me off in this movie, but I think he's the same in the books.
Yeah,
and now it's just kind of like a gripe about the character who's written well enough to like anger me. It's like clearly Voldemort is back, and you're being an asshole about it.
Correct.
But then you get so this one has they're attacked by Dementors at the very beginning.
Yes,
and they're like from the outset they're trying to get Harry expelled.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying to silence the opposition.
And then
fascists.
Dolores Umbridge comes in.
Ooh.
Starts making him.
DU gets me. Ugh. Gets the blood.
Hot and bothered?
No, gets the blood boiling. That's a character we don't like.
She's the Joffrey of
big facts
of Harry Potter.
100%.
Except for we never get to see her dead.
I wish we would
never get to see her turn purple at her wedding. But I've. It's hard to talk bad about it because I really like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I typically skip Chamber of Secrets.
I get that. So that's your number 6.
That's my number 6.
We'll talk more about it coming up.
We will.
My number 5, I have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. And almost the one thing that propels it to the 5 spot is while reading the book, I remember thinking, while Hermione's going over the story of the 3 brothers, I thought, how in the world are you going to do that?
The pacing in the movie is very off.
Well, but the way they do it
is cool.
While I'm reading it, I'm going like, I have no idea how you do this in movie form.
Yeah, the stick figure cartoon thing.
You're gonna have to do it. Like, it is imperative to the plot that we discuss this. It's not one of those things that you go, we can do without that.
We don't need to know that Filch is a squib.
Right. Like, there's some things I can do without, but I got to know the story of the 3 brothers, and I think they do a really good job of that.
I think that the pacing really dies at that point, though. Like, the whole time they're at Luna Lovegood. The pacing for Deathly Hallows Part 1 is my number 5 as well. The pacing for that movie is just so
methodical. And that
it's a good setup movie.
Right.
But had I watched it in theaters and had to wait a year for
and that's the
Part 2, I wouldn't have been happy about it.
Should that movie be 2 parts? I don't think so.
Well, apparently it should if 3/4 of it is the battle.
Well, no,
like, it should be the Deathly Hallows.
3/4 of a 2-hour movie, yes, should be the Battle of Hogwarts. Or not, maybe an hour of the 2-hour movie should be the Battle of Hogwarts. But if can that be a 3-hour movie? I think so. Like, there's some...
Yeah, they could... Well, it's right now, it's a 2.5-hour movie for Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Which is too long.
Yes.
They stretch that bitch out to it.
For almost nothing to happen.
Yes.
I think they get snatched in that movie.
Yes.
By the Snatchers.
And they take forever to... Like, there's a portion of Harry Potter... Part 1, Deathly Hallows Part 1, where they're just Lord of the Rings in it.
Yeah.
Just waltzing around because... Like, we're just walking through the woods.
They spend so much time with them setting up enchantments in the background.
Yeah. We can...
We showed it once. We can assume they do it every time.
Yeah.
And the pacing in the book was also slow for that, too. But there was stuff where it's like Seamus and Dean are running or whoever it was running an underground radio station. I don't think you get any of that in the
movie. But it's just... just almost the 3 brothers propels it from number 7 to number 5.
The beginning of it was nice when they first they have the wedding and you're like, oh, apparently Ron and Ginny are sleeping around with each other in this house. Yeah, like, can you change my dress? And he's like, I just ripped.
You just said off. Ron and Ginny are sleeping around together in his house.
It was like
Harry and Ginny.
Are sleeping around behind everybody's backs except for
Fred and or George, where he's like
missing his ear.
Good morning.
Right? How did the deaf guys sneak up on you?
Great question. That's my number 5. You can expand upon it if you'd like.
I don't know that anything else needs to be said about it. It's a 2.5-hour movie, an hour and a half of it's walking. I like the first half an hour of it where they're like at the wedding, preparing for it, talking to people. Then they're on the run, and they're just fighting in London with
inside a diner.
Obliterating people.
Yeah.
Obliviate. They're like, why do they teach that in school? Like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
This isn't unforgivable. Can you unobliviate? Or does, Hermione's
re-obliviate?
Or do her parents just never remember going forward?
That's a great question.
Probably answered on Pottermore.
But at the same time, they're muggles. They're going to the dentist office every day. Doesn't somebody be like, hey, how's your daughter Hermione doing? And they're like, who the f*** is that?
Right. Well, that spell took her out of pictures, so
Right, but they're not taking her out of
other people's
brains. I can't think. We'll ask Joe the next time we get her on the pod.
Okay. But I want to know. I had another question that popped up then too. Oh, that's in a different movie. So yeah, so that's Deathly Hallows Part 1. Both of our number 5.
That's correct. My number 4, I have Sorcerer's Stone, which you had lower on your list. I like it strictly because Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, and Daniel Radcliffe are so awkward on camera that it's believable that those 11-year-olds are just awkward and weird. And so it gives it some semblance of charm of almost like...
And they're all fairly ugly, like they're supposed to be in the books.
Yeah. Like they are not great-looking kids. And they're stars. But how rough they are gives it a little bit more credence to, this is a little more believable because that is how awkward kids are at that age. Yeah, it is. I'm in agreement.
Don't you talk about my father. You don't know.
Potter. Like, okay, that's not how you would say that word, but okay, if you're trying if you're trying to be a snobby rich kid at 11, you would say Potter. So I think there's some charm to the fact that, and then there's all the world building and everything that goes into it that is remotely enjoyable. So I've got Sorcerer's Stone at number 4.
My number 4 is a movie that you brought up. Was as high as number 3 at one point. Now number 4. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Which, side note, by the way, as a kid reading the books, was not pronounced Azkaban in my head. Like that's a weird word.
Hermione wasn't pronounced Hermione in my head.
Nope. The first time when we watched the movie, I was like, oh.
That makes sense.
Huh. Yeah, that actually does make sense.
Like, I think I just skipped the I, and I think it was like Hermione.
Yeah. Azkaban. He's in Azkaban prison.
Right. I might have known by the time I read Prisoner of Azkaban, I'd seen the movies, so I knew how it was pronounced.
Must have been nice.
It's like, I can't wait to go see Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in theaters. Like, he's been in Azkaban prison. Well,
son of a bitch.
Oh, I wish somebody would have told me that.
I look like a fool. So in Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione gets the time turner, and she's like, which is wild that they give a 13-year-old or 12-year-old, however old she's supposed to be, the power to travel through time because she wants to load up on.
She wants to learn more,
right?
But then it's just it's a plot hole the rest of the movies,
right?
Like the rest of the series. Oh, how did this happen? Well, there's a reasonable explanation for that, or time turner. Like, okay, why didn't they just do this? Because Hermione didn't think about it. I don't know if you read the 7 books, Joe, but she imagined that would have been one of the first things she thought about once she knew that she could turn back time.
She can find a way.
Take back all the words that had hurt you, and she'd stay.
So in this that also happens, you think the movie's over. It's kind of a problem I have with it. A lot of times I don't always watch this. I enjoy the movie when I want to watch it. When I want action, I don't watch this movie.
When I want poor plot devices.
When you think the movie's over, rewind time, you're watching the last 45 minutes from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Ish. You get to see
when they're not just staring at themselves, when they're off doing stuff and not.
Oh, I don't know. I like when she punches Draco Malfoy in the face from behind.
But then they're off doing something, and then they kind of like find themselves again. And that's kind of cool. Professor Lupin turns into a werewolf.
Yep. And this is 2004 when this comes out, so I could feel it wiggle the first time you see Hermione Granger punch Draco Malfoy in the face from behind. You're like, oh, I love If I could just turn my life into a musical, the song from Beauty and the Beast. There's something there that wasn't there before. Yeah, where did she come from? In the first movie, she's this bushy-haired little goblin freak, and in the third movie, it's like, that's a certified wagon back there. Holy cow, she got that like zip-up jacket on, and you're just like, don't ask me the color of anything in that scene, because I'm 14 years old, and all I could stare at is tush. I'm 32 years old, and all I can stare at is tush.
Wish we had a time turner right now. So, to go back about 3 minutes, not to go back to 14 years old.
I'd like to go back to 14 years old and see that again for the first time.
Jesus. Okay. Prisoner of Azkaban's been derailed. Let's move on to a word from our sponsor.
How about that sponsor message? Wow.
I love our sponsors, and particularly
their messages.
That product that they're pitching.
Man, it doesn't get better than insert product here.
No, I love insertable products.
Phrasing.
You're number 3. We're talking Harry Potter movies.
I got Order of the Phoenix, 7.5 IMDb, so one of the lower, but I like it.
The way it moves on the floor.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah. This sounds bad, but as quickly as we're introduced to Sirius Black, he is horribly ripped away from us.
Too soon. Taken away.
Too soon. I think appropriate time. I had enough. I had enough of Sirius. Okay.
Prisoner of Azkaban. I didn't even talk about how much I like Sirius and how Harry gets a father figure. Finally.
Yeah, he's got a father figure in Albus Dumbledore. I just don't think Dumbledore's
not a great father figure.
No, he
sees him twice a year, and one of those is he manipulates the point system so that Harry's house wins.
Correct. And then gaslights Harry into doing all of his dirty work.
Right.
If you take 1,000-foot view at the series, and I mentioned this on a Harry Potter podcast with a friend the other day.
What's the name of that podcast?
The Belated Binge Podcast. My friend Zach, he didn't read Harry Potter until he was like 28 years old. So he's just now coming around and be like, holy shit, this is good stuff. But if you look at the series from 1,000-foot view, it's the story of Albus Dumbledore versus Lord Voldemort told through the eyes of Harry Potter. The first 3.5, maybe 4 books, Harry Potter is just a chess piece for Albus Dumbledore. Yeah. And eventually he's like, oh, I kind of like this kid. And you're like, right. But he's like, the thing that sucks is he's got to die. Like, okay. So it's almost like, we grew up, we're in a farming community. People are like, hey, don't get attached to that pig because we're going to need him.
You raised him like a lamb to slaughter so that he could die at the appropriate time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That is what I did.
Yeah, that is literally exactly what happened. He's got a father figure in Albus Dumbledore. It's just not a great one. He's got an older brother figure in Sirius Black because he's supposed to be 31 years old. But
you can't prove that. Literally prove it.
Yeah, I can. But it's just I know that you like Sirius, and I think Sirius is all right. It's just he dies.
And he's a dog.
He is a dog.
He's also very careless.
Very. Like you broke out of the prison that's in horribly impossible to break out of, and then you're just like, you guys want to go down to the train station? No.
Okay, so you were talking Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix. I like the Order of the Phoenix because it's when the series shifts from like, oh my gosh, our junior high problems sure are crazy, to like, people are dying. And I like the switch from like, oh man, there's a 3-headed dog inside this school, and then what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, oh, holy cow, our problems really are big. And then it's like, this is real life, kids. It's time to grow up. And Harry's like, I want to fight. And Molly Weasley's like, I don't think so. And then they fight anyway. Like they get to, and everybody else is throwing around Avada Kedavras and stuff. And they're like, stupefy. they're fighting like you just handed an Amish kid a controller and they're just pressing the buttons of whatever they can think of at the same time.
Oh, fucking Molly Weasley. So you're telling me that Avada Kedavra is an unforgivable curse, but whatever she uses to kill Bellatrix Lestrange, isn't it? Because she turns that bitch to fucking stone, right, and turns her to dust.
And when I
with a quarter turn, didn't even have to say a word. Didn't say a word. A silent casting, instant kill.
No.
That's my daughter, you bitch. Yeah, I don't think that's the name of the spell.
I like to think it is. I like to think that's the spell. All right, kids, today we're going to learn not my daughter, you bitch. But in the books, that's exactly like when I'm reading it, I thought like that's one of those words, like that's one of the lines you've got to pull straight from the book. It's got to be not my daughter, you bitch, and it's in all caps in the book. In the movie, it's kind of like not my daughter, you bitch. Like it's more of a like ah in the book, which I would have preferred a ah in the movie, but you know. It is what it is.
And that smug look on her face afterwards.
she's pleased with herself.
Yeah. She just murdered someone in cold blood in front of her daughter.
And then it's like,
with a flick and a quarter turn of her wand.
Yeah.
I think, like, was she related to Bellatrix Lestrange? No. Okay. Anyway.
Order of the Phoenix, number 3, 7.5.
My number 3, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It's a very good movie. I know that it's your favorite book.
Second favorite book.
Harry gets the book from. Turns out that it's Snape's book, and he's the Half-Blood Prince. And Snape is just out there like altering 100-year-old recipes,
potion books,
and then creating throat slicing spells and writing them down in his potions book.
That's normal.
That's completely reversible.
Yeah.
You drain this dude's blood and you do a quick cantation, throw that blood right back in there. Like, do all of them have it? Like, if you... Avada Kedavra.
Uno reverse.
Uno reverso.
I don't know if that ever got covered.
Crucio. No, you.
Nuh-uh.
Well, that's like the whole thing in the books that it's not covered in the movies. It's like when you're getting Crucio cursed, you can just fight it.
But
you can just like not get Crucio cursed.
But apparently Neville Longbottom's parents are bitches.
Hey, 13-year-old Harry can uncrucio himself, but Neville Longbottom's parents.
Franken, I forget what his mom's name is. Franken, I don't know.
Lisa.
I can't. I'll effort.
But Half-Blood Prince. The end of it's really dope. The beginning of it, that's the one. So Dumbledore is
Alice and Frank Longbottom. Lisa wasn't far off.
Dumbledore is fired. Is he fired during it? No, he's the headmaster, but he's got a curse on his hand that's killing him.
Make it sound like he's got arthritis. It's killing him.
He's like, "Hey, Harry, you need to go do the super dangerous stuff with me."
And Harry's like, "It's about in time, Albus." And he's like, "I'm still Professor Dumbledore.
We're gonna evaporate out of this place." And I thought you couldn't do that. It pays to be the king.
Verbatim what he says.
It's like, "Hey, Harry, I don't know if you know this, but I'm literally the most powerful wizard in the world with the most powerful wand in the world, so I can literally do whatever I want."
I'm pretty sure that's verbatim lifted right from the pages of the book. It pays to be the king.
It's not evaporate though. What apparate?
Apparate, yeah. Evaporate is
condensation.
Yeah.
Reverse condensation, I believe. Yeah, solid book. Snape kills Dumbledore.
Spoiler alert. I had to
It's always
explain
important to throw those in after the spoiler.
while I was describing my Harry Potter story to my friend Zach, who does the Belated Binge podcast. I said when after I gave my now wife my phone number for the first time, she calls to talk to me. I didn't answer. She leaves me a voicemail. Well, my voicemail message said, "Hey, it's Garrett's cell phone. Leave your name, your number. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're calling to tell me what happens at the end of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, kindly f*** off." And he's like, "Why?" And I was like, because my friend Don is like, "Oh, the 6 books coming out. I bet Garrett's happy about that. I'll Google the last 3 chapters and find out what happens." So there I am reading, starting it, and Don's like, "Hey, by the way, Snape kills Dumbledore." Thanks, Dick.
But I didn't do that.
I think you told me Snape killed Dumbledore before I got to Snape kills Dumbledore.
Interesting.
You're like, "Oh, I'll just hop on the old Google machine and find out."
Well, so I think that there's
Snape kills Dumbledore. Have you got to that part yet?
There was a YouTube.
You're an a-hole.
There was a YouTube video where a dude gets his book at midnight and drives past the Barnes and Noble release, just shouting out of his window, "Snape kills Dumbledore!"
Oh God! Oh God! That's rough.
But Half-Blood Prince.
Yep.
And then they have a little running fight through the woods.
Yeah. And you think that Severus Snape has turned, or not turned, but you're finally validated.
Triple agented.
Well, you're like, "I knew the whole time that he was on the bad guys."
Yep.
And then you're like,
"They made it very obvious to me that he was on the bad guy's side."
Oh, the twist at the end is that he wasn't on the bad guys at all? Who could have seen that except for everyone, because Albus Dumbledore trusted him.
And Albus Dumbledore never
never made a character miscalculation
that came back to haunt him. Did it haunt the rest of the Wizarding World? Yes.
And by the rest of the Wizarding World, I mean the people who died. Yes. At what point did Albus Dumbledore go, "Maybe we should stop teaching this child"? Never. That could be a problem.
Did you know when I met him that I just met the most dangerous wizard in history?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I had a feeling.
Yeah, a small inkling. And yet, my number 2, I have Harry Plopper.
Harry Plopper.
Harry Plopper. Harry Potsmoker. And I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
The Goblet of Enfuego?
Enfuego. El Fuego? Hell, I don't know. Fuego. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fuego.
I've got it at number 2 as well.
It's great. Great movie.
Phenomenal. Last book I read.
Second best in the series, you could argue.
Before I was 30. Last book I read before I was 30.
Second best movie in the series, potentially.
Consensus. Consensus second best.
Second best movie in the series. I like the source material. The one thing that somewhat bothers me is, in the book, Dumbledore's pretty chill about the entire...
Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? There's so many TikToks. Have you seen the Lego one?
Yes.
Harry,
did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Lego Dumbledore's elbow dropping, screaming at him.
But he's pretty chill kind of throughout the whole thing, and I don't know. I guess I've never really investigated or thought about why. Why is he so chill in the book about oh, this is fine? Does he have the supreme faith that Harry's wizarding skills are going to be good enough to get him through this incredibly dangerous tournament? Does he know that he can fix the damn thing to make sure that Harry's okay? I don't know, but throughout the book, he's not really troubled at all.
He's not concerned about Harry at all.
Right.
He's just going to lose a pawn. He's just losing one chess piece at this point.
It's the only chess piece he has, though. He's got to protect that chess. He needs Harry.
He's got Neville.
Great.
The prophecy can include 2 boys.
One of them is a bug-tooth herbologist, and the other is the savior of the wizarding world.
And at the end of the movies, One of them is 5'6" and rail thin, and the other one's 6'3" Jack Diesel, wearing fake buck teeth
because Matthew Lewis grew up to be a baddie.
Yeah. Biggest glow up in Harry Potter.
Oh, 100%.
Even bigger than Hermione's.
Yes. Because in Sorcerer's Stone, you're going to have a long life, big guy. Yeah. And by the time you get to the end, they're like,
we need to make you ugly.
They're like, damn, Matthew Lewis. You kidding me? Talk about a late bloomer.
He's like, can I get a shirtless scene? No, but...
And they were like, no, but maybe in the calendar or something. Yeah.
Okay, so...
Good-looking dude.
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire, number 2.
Phenomenal. Action-packed.
Yeah. Lot going on.
Lots of new people.
New characters. The Quidditch World Cup at the start.
Yeah.
Whew. Spectacular. The way they don't ever actually end up really showing any of the Quidditch in the Quidditch World Cup, right. I think is actually well done.
The Irish win. They don't really explain that Victor Crumb catches the snitch.
Victor Crumb pulls a J.R. Smith in the NBA Finals.
Well, so people bitch about it, like in the books, about how Victor Crumb, and we might have talked about this on that podcast.
I think so.
Where he catches the snitch to lose by like 10 points. Like, they were going to lose by more than that the longer it took him to catch that snitch.
And he just said, to hell with it.
We're going to lose on the under.
Right.
I need to catch this.
Naturally.
Then everybody thinks they're rich and it's Goblin's gold.
And
which all disappears.
But, Victor Crumb ends up taking Hermione Granger to the Triwizard Tournament ball, and everybody still at that point in the books is like, but Hermione Granger is ugly. Right. And there I am in the theater, like, trying to unbutton my pants because she's gorgeous.
Jesus.
Just I want to see how far I could take it before you're like, oh, my God. She's a baddie in that movie. And everybody's like, he would choose Hermione Granger? Like, well, who the else are you choosing in that gargoyle school? She's a baddie. Makes sense in the movie. In the book, it's like, why would Victor Crumb choose her? In the movie, it's like, who else would he pick? But I like one more. I like one movie better than
Harry Potter starts to have dreams about Voldemort.
Yeah. But they're not dreams at all.
They're not.
We later find out.
They're not dreams. They're visions, side dreams.
Side quests. NPCs.
Barty Crouch took over Mad-Eye Mooney.
Yeah, he did. For a very long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of Polyjuice potion. Snape needs a new lock on his potion door, apparently. Because you and your friends are brewing Polyjuice potion, and I'll find out why.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Also, by the way,
you knew immediately that Professor Lupin was a werewolf.
But you don't know.
You don't know that Barty Crouch Jr. is taking over Mad-Eye Mooney's body?
At the end of that book / movie, and they pop open the trunk, and there's Mad-Eye Moody looking up at him. That thing's got a stank, right?
Yeah. Because Barty Crouch isn't cleaning it.
Right.
He was sitting, there was not even a little bit of poop in there.
He's not tossing down some Old Spice to him.
Why do you even... Well, I guess he had to keep him alive for the hair, but the hair grows after you're dead. Why even keep him alive?
Good question. Barty Crouch Jr., probably not the smartest dude ever.
True.
But that trunk stanks. Like, how is nobody walking around?
Killed Barty Crouch Sr.
Did he?
Yeah, like after the swimming event.
Oh.
As Mad-Eye Mooney. Because, like, Barty Crouch Sr. saw Mad-Eye Mooney, like, lick his lips, like, he's Barty Crouch Jr., and then...
That's true.
Next scene, Barty Crouch Sr.'s dead.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That's why in the next one, there's a new Minister of Magic.
Are you saying Mooney?
Mad-Eye Mooney?
Yeah.
Moody.
Have you seen...
Mooney.
I had some Tupperware. Say that again.
I am saying Mooney, but Moody. Mad-Eye Moody.
Say that slow. Say very slow.
I keep saying Mooney because of the Chappelle Show. Mooney on movies.
Gotcha. So it's time to number 1, because we don't have any honorable mentions unless you're going to tell me that Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald isn't the 11th best movie in the Harry Potter world.
No, that one's 11.
Yeah, it's trash.
And then the most recent one is 10.
Yeah.
And I think that Fantastic Beasts could fit right around 7. Right, it could probably slot in front of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets on mine. Definitely in front of Chamber of Secrets.
I wouldn't hate if they did a series on Dumbledore's origins or whatever. But they tried to shoehorn Newt Scamander somehow into
and
Dumbledore versus Grindelwald.
Honestly, Newt Scamander was fine. The first one was fine on its own.
Yeah, I liked it. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
And it went from Newt Scamander. It went from Fantastic Beasts to
young Albus Dumbledore. And okay, that's a whole different series, I think.
Right. Your number 1 is Half-Blood Prince.
It is. It's a 7.6 on IMDb, which puts it right about smack dab in the middle. But it's my favorite movie because it's the only movie that really follows, that doesn't strictly follow Harry. It is running a parallel track of following Harry and Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, and he's building a closet because that's a thing that he probably knows how to do.
Yeah. But it's really the turning point. There are 2 kind of pivots in the series where, after Cedric Diggory dies, okay, this is real life. And then when we're leading up to the death of Albus Dumbledore is when it's we are coming to a conclusion. This is getting wrapped up here pretty quick. And it's the smack dab middle of those 2 things. It's okay, this is real life. The movie is really dark because the entire plot of the book and movie is really dark.
Yeah.
You're training a 16-year-old assassin to take out the most famous and powerful wizard on the planet.
While Dumbledore is training a 16-year-old assassin to take out the most powerful.
Yeah.
He's training him to hunt Horcruxes because he knows that he's going to die.
Right, because he's got arthritis in that hand real bad.
Exactly.
He should have listened to his mom and not popped his knuckles so much. It's just, I don't, there are certain words people use that I don't know that they know what they mean, and they use them too frequently. But the dichotomy of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is enjoyable to me.
So real quick, you just talked about popping your knuckles.
Arthritis.
And I saw a
TikTok.
Reddit. It was a TikTok Reddit thread, I think. And it was what are some lies that your parents told you that backfired? And one of them was my mom told me that cracking your knuckles would give you arthritis. And all it did was make me not sympathize with old people with arthritis. Should have listened to you when your mom told you
I guess you should have listened to your mom when you were a kid, huh? Yeah, it made me less empathetic to old people with arthritis.
Okay, so the dichotomy between the 2.
Yeah, one wizard is being trained to take out the other powerful wizard. One wizard is being trained to take out the other powerful wizard. Meanwhile, one of them is hell yeah, let's do it. And the other one's my family will die if I don't.
And then
he doesn't.
And then he kills him in the bathroom.
Yep, the old Sectum Sempra.
And then Snape unkills him in the bathroom.
Yeah, which real nice work there by Harry. Real trustworthy of I read this in a book. What's the worst that can happen? Right. Sectum Sempra. Oh boy, okay, that's a lot of blood. I'm gonna just stand here in horror and not do anything.
What was Snape doing outside that bathroom?
Masturbating.
I think he should have came out of the stall with toilet paper on his shoe.
I don't, director. I don't know that this is the time for humor. People will love it. People will think this is hilarious. Yeah, I don't think.
Then Harry just runs away, and Snape never says another word about
There's
it.
never a punishment. There's never. But at the but in the moment, Snape is "Huh? How would you know that?
This dude's got my book.
Right, you've got my book." And then at the end of the movie, they're "Oh man, I knew that Snape was the bad guy the whole time." And you're "Well, actually, give it about 3 more years, and you're going to find out how wrong you were."
And then he tries to Septum Sempra Snape, and he goes, "You dare use my own spell against me?"
Curveball, "I am the Half-Blood Prince." You're "Well, I actually didn't see that one coming. I didn't pick that up.
Everybody thought it was going to be Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Or Voldemort.
Yeah.
Not Dumbledore.
Anybody other than Severus Snape.
Snap.
So I like the curveball at the end. It's like a legitimate curveball to me.
Yeah. It's a second curveball. It's a slider after the curveball of Snape killing Dumbledore. Curveball. I'm the Half-Blood
right.
Prince. Slider.
Right. So Snape kills Dumbledore. You're like, motherfucker, I knew it. I knew you were a bad dude. And then he's like, by the way, I'm the Half-Blood Prince. And you're like, it's like you watched Inception again for the first time.
And then
what
you're
the is going on in this movie?
But they set you up with the high fastball with him being like, I knew he was the bad guy.
Bam. Low change up blowing outside.
Change up.
Hamana ha!
Change up blowing outside. Snape has a Patronus dough.
Because he loves yo mama.
I don't understand that. Lily, all this time. Always.
Always.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
All right, so my number one, if you've been following along at home, is
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
which I've read the synopsis of, and that could
It's
that
a dog
could slot
baby.
in at 12.
It's a dog baby. Whew. You should not let people shouldn't let fan
You want
fiction.
to talk about time turners?
I do have an idea of creating Harry Potter and the Cursed Child as a musical with the music of Meatloaf.
Anyway,
Like, it would be great. I'm telling you.
we're just Paradise by the Dashboard Lights fit in.
Well, you know where
Where
the Cursed Child is created.
okay. Do you remember what my number one is?
No.
It's Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Part Dose. I guess that makes sense.
It is the most action-packed movie. If I want to watch a Harry Potter movie, I will watch Deathly Hallows Part 2. It picks up at the end of the walking.
It picks up where Part 1 ends. Yeah, that's a natural conclusion.
Just right off the rip, they're like, hey, you know what? Ron's back. We shattered a Horcrux.
And the bad guys got the Elder Wand.
Let's go here. Let's go visit this Godric's Hollow. Boom. Then they go there. You know who's at Godric's Hollow? Dumbledore's got a brother. Mic drop. You know who's behind the portrait of Dumbledore's sister? Brand new tunnel to Hogwarts. Let's get through that. Cedric's hot. We're following him. Not Cedric.
Neville.
Neville Longbottom's hot. We're following him. I brought some friends. Pops through the portrait on the other side.
Neville Longbottom become British Michael Roby.
Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh, gosh.
And then Snape is making everybody like walk in silence, like the worst football coach you've ever had.
Okay, sidebar really quick. When Ashley and I were in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and we rode the monorail, and if somebody like went through the monorail that didn't scan their pass or whatever to get on, it would make a and Ashley's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Well, it sounds like Harry Potter's."
Students are out of bed.
I was like, "It sounds like Harry Potter's in Hogsmeade." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "It was the exact sound. I kid you not."
Nice.
It was that exact sound that when they get to Hogsmeade and before Aberforth, I was like, "Potter, get in here." It was that sound. And she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It sounds like Harry Potter just apparated into Hogsmeade." Did not get the reference. And then when you're like, Don would have got it. Well, why don't you marry Don? I might.
You won't.
I put out.
I'm good.
Think about it. Okay. All right.
So then Snape's making everybody walk in silence.
The worst
And
football coach.
like the worst football coach you've ever had. And then he's got the two twins on either side of him. And he's like, Harry Potter was spotted in Hogsmeade. If anybody comes forth with information, otherwise you will be punished.
And then the robe comes
And then the
up.
rope comes off and goes,
How dare you stand where he stood?
Despite your exhaustive efforts, headmaster, you seem to have a bit of a security problem.
Oh, that is such a great, like that's a Lethal Weapon-esque line. You've got a bit of a security problem. Wait.
And then he just starts yelling at him about how he killed Dumbledore, and everybody just believes him. McGonagall comes out and is ready to kill her best
teaching pal.
Her best teaching pal of the last 10 years. And that scene is amazing to watch back. Where when she walks in front of him and Snape hesitates, and he's like, I don't want to kill this bitch.
Right.
And then he doesn't even attack her, he just defends.
Right.
Like she starts attacking him and he deflects it into one twin. And then
she don't know.
Right.
She
don't know that Snape is a triple agent.
Right.
Quadruple agent at this point.
He's an international super spy.
Exactly. So he deflects one magic missile into one twin, then deflects another into the other twin, then turns into like a shadow, steals both of their wands, and then boots out the window.
Yeah.
Not even firing a shot at Professor McGonagall.
Gentlemen.
Yeah. Locomotum, something totem. All the statues come to life.
I've always wanted to use that spell.
McGonagall really shines in this last movie.
She's
the first movie and the last movie,
Badass.
McGonagall shines. And she's the mother figure that Harry never knew that he had.
Correct. And she's always, and I don't think this is the author. I think this is Minerva McGonagall. She is always what Harry needs at the right time. Like when he needs nurturing, she's nurturing. But when he needs structure and discipline and she needs to be firm,
yeah,
she is. But she's never a bitch.
No.
Like she's always, there's in the Whomping Willow chapter of the Chamber of Secrets, Harry's in Snape's classroom after they get to school and they've wrecked the car and whatever and made their grand entrance. And Professor McGonagall walks in and he was like, most times I would be happy to see Professor McGonagall, but the only thing nice about this is that she's fair. Like she's as strict or more strict than Professor Snape, right, but she's fair. Like, yeah, that's pretty much encapsulation of her. It's like she's fair. She's gonna be a hard ass, right, but she's fair.
Then Harry Potter dies, has a nice little talk with Dumbledore.
Who's to say that it's not
Snape dies?
It's not real.
The pacing kind of slows down a little bit when they look at the tears for Snape.
Well, like it's
very
awkward.
important.
It's awkward, but you gotta fit it in there somewhere. Yeah. But it pisses also, me off that they take longer for Snape to die than it does to blow up the damn castle. It's priorities are messed up.
Then Harry dies, talks with Dumbledore. Then when he comes back, then Draco's mom comes up to him and is like, Draco, is he alive? And she's like, Dumbledore at this point.
Okay. No, she's like, fuck Voldemort at this point. Like,
that's what I said.
You said Dumbledore.
Yeah.
See,
a bunch of words getting jumbled up.
I don't like that part. That line bothers me because there's not enough pause between.
So it acts like she's talking to Draco,
right? I'm like, so wait, is Draco like did Voldemort just kill Draco? Polyjuice potioned Harry, or like Draco? Is he alive? Like it sounds like she's addressing
I thought she
Draco.
Was trying to get to Draco through Harry somehow. The first time I saw it,
when I was like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. And finally, it was like, okay, wait, she's asking Harry, is Draco still alive?
Right?
Because she's like, I don't give a hell about how I got to get up there and get my kid.
Right.
To hell with Voldemort. To hell with the cause that I've devoted the last 20 years of my life to. Don't care. I got to get my kid out of here. Which I think is somewhat noble.
Yeah.
But just the way it's acted is poor.
And
she died, by the way. That actress died. Sad. Bet she wishes she could have done that line again.
So,
do you have any regrets? Garfield.
Garfield, maybe. Makes sense. Then Hagrid's holding him, very sad, very crying.
As you would expect from Rubius Hagrid.
Hagrid not doing a great job of holding him because he flops immediately out of his hands. Harry's a dick, like didn't give Hagrid a squeeze on the hand one time.
Right.
For the 3-hour march from the darkest depths of the Forbidden Forest
to the castle. Doesn't ever once let on that, like, hey, just so you know, be prepared for when I go. Gotcha.
Maybe like, here's what happens in real life. Harry makes a move. Hagrid squishes him. Dead. Dead again.
Little fucking liver pops out of his mouth. Like, oh boy, he squeezed him a little too hard. Tell me about the wabbits, George.
Zombie Harry almost just came back and killed us all.
Luckily for me. Luckily for you, I squashed him.
Neville gets to come up and make his big stand against Voldemort.
Yeah, which is nice because, you know, Neville's very close to being the chosen one.
Yeah.
Except he wasn't.
It's also, that's some weird verbiage in what he says, too. It doesn't matter that Harry's dead.
Yeah, we lost Harry tonight. But he's still, but he's still with us in here. He points to his chest. He's still with us in here.
Okay, so there's a part of that bothers me. This is the movie I've seen the most. It goes from like Voldemort, like very angry face to very laughy face, like in like quick scene changes. Like his face like completely doesn't match. That bothers me.
No, I think he's laughing at Neville,
right?
Like taking this stand of like, you can say all this crap you'd like. I killed your boy, and then I have a very real problem with the way Voldemort dies. Like, it's clear in the book that Tom Riddle, the human being, dies. Like, there is a dead human body laying right there, and instead he turns to ash.
Right.
Lord Voldemort turns to ash.
Well, after
After
the foot to the face of Cedric Diggory, they couldn't show any more dead bodies, apparently.
To hell with that. Like, they showed Nymphadora Tonks and Professor Lupin.
And George and/or Fred.
We're going on a decade of waiting for this dude to die, and then when he's supposed to die, you're like, I hope you didn't want to see that. Well, I did.
Right. As opposed to more dust flying away.
Yeah.
Nobody's been dusted at all, but we've got Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange turned to dust and float away.
Just getting popped like they're a zit. No.
As far as I'm concerned, Voldemort's going back to his last Horcrux that nobody knew about. He had an extra one.
You thought there were 7. You thought there were 8. There's 9.
But no, I really like Deathly Hallows Part 2. Most action-packed. As you can tell, I know all the little scenes.
As you can tell. We lost Harry tonight. But he's still with us.
In here.
In here.
Then Ron goes and talks Snake into the wall. Kind of a cool little thing. He's like, Harry talks in his sleep. Have you noticed? Yeah. But then Hermione gives him like a real weird look. And it's like, no, I haven't. Which is real weird because it's like, that bitch does know he talks in his sleep.
She's getting all gooey in her britches, though, hearing Ron get all parcel mouthy. She's like, oh, boy, here we go. And then they fall.
But the way she awkwardly says, no, I haven't, makes me think it's like, she does know, which means she's near Harry when he's sleeping a lot. They've been sleeping together.
In the biblical sense or physical? They've been physically sleeping with each other.
They've been fornicating. Which I found out yesterday, fornicating is only for unmarried people.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Also, I love the loophole of like it's never premarital sex if you never get married.
It's always
it's never premarital sex.
It's not premarital sex if one of you is married.
Truth. So what's the official definition of fornicating, man?
Well, allow me to look it up.
Allow me to Google.
Because your brother was the one that told me about it.
Well, that's
not about fornication, but about the definition. Of two people not married to each other have sexual intercourse.
So it's just another name for coitus? It doesn't have to be that specific.
Ashley's search history. She's going to like check her search. What the hell? No, coitus is just sexual intercourse. But then fornicate, unmarried.
Now I know. Words matter, Don. Definitions matter.
Two people not married to each other. So I think
So
it's
it's
just kinda
not
like
premarital.
It's
as
not
much as-
premarital. It's like you could be married to this person and they could be married to somebody else.
and they're
And you
fornicate.
fornicate.
So it's really kind of like it's like a slur of the sexual language. Like those two are fornicators.
Fornicators.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. This has really gone off the rails.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what movie they shout about fornicators in it. Is it
Oh, brother,
is it
where art
Brother,
thou?
Where Art
I
Thou?
think so. I think so. When you said that, I was like, wait a second. I think, brother, where art thou? There's a lot of talk of fornication.
Fornicating with some whore of Babylon.
That's got to go in
I
the
think
old
it's
lexicon.
talking about the guitarist.
Maybe.
There's a lot of talk about fornicating in that movie, though.
We could talk. We got to find something to rank in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Great movie.
Yeah, I love it.
Fantastic.
You can find me at Donnie_G.
You can find the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Rankin Podcast. Leave a 5-star review. We'll read them on the episode. Certainly appreciate you doing so, helping us out however you can. Tell your friends about us. Hopefully we made you laugh. If we didn't, keep that to yourself. I'm at Garrett C. Wright on Twitter, and we will catch you next time. Whatever it is, however it is, wherever it is, we're ranking right here on the Rankin Podcast. We'll catch you later.
I don't want fop. I'm a Dapper Dan man.